We have a major update on the Knicks' trade interest in Trey Murphy III. According to one NBA insider, he gives us an update on how likely it is that the Knicks will trade Mitchell Robinson for Trey Murphy. He also lets us know what the Knicks' most realistic trade chips are at this point in time. We're going to break down all of those latest reports and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Major update on the Knicks trade plans. As we all know, at this point in time, the Knicks are taking offers and calls for their center Mitchell Robinson. And according to reports, a number of teams has been interested in trying to trade for Robinson. We covered one of those reports because one of those reports indicated that New Orleans was pushing very hard to trade for Robinson. And in those talks were Trey Murphy III. But according to Ian Bagley, an SNY NBA insider, he actually gave us an update about how likely it is that the Knicks would even land Trey Murphy for Mitchell Robinson. Shout out to Ian Bagley for answering the following question in his recent mailbag edition. He was asked, do you know if trading Mitchell Robinson for Trey Murphy is somehow a possibility? And here was his response. I don't think it is. The Pelicans have been signaling for a while that they value Murphy III highly, and they see him as a vital part of the future. So it would be a surprising move to see New Orleans move Murphy for a package involving Mitchell Robinson. I don't say that to slight Robinson. He is an elite talent and, if healthy, would have high value around the league. Bagley continues here by stating, I would assume that there's not much support for moving McBride, who you would likely need to include in the deal to land Murphy. The Knicks, as currently constituted, would need him on both ends of the floor. The situation with Robinson is obviously a little bit different. The 26-year-old center is still rehabbing from offseason foot surgery and is expected back between December and January, if there are no setbacks. But I can't see New Orleans moving Murphy III at all, let alone for a player who is rehabbing from surgery. Because of his talent and team-friendly contract, there will be a market for Robinson. I just don't think moving him could bring back a player like Murphy. Shout out to Ian Bagley for giving us all the update that we've been waiting for. The Knicks' current trade interest in Trey Murphy. Now it's clear, if the Knicks could land Trey Murphy, they would absolutely do so, especially if it could only cost them Mitchell Robinson. But as Ian Bagley just said, and as we mentioned when we covered it in the video talking about the Knicks potentially landing Trey Murphy III, we already knew the likelihood of that happening was extremely low because you're giving up Mitchell Robinson, a more injury-prone player, for a rising star in this league, somebody that the Pelicans value highly in Trey Murphy III. Why would they want to make that move? Even though Murphy is injured right now, after he suffered a right hamstring injury that's going to keep him out for the next 3 weeks, it's still not as bad as Robinson being out maybe till January if there are no setbacks. And if there is a setback, he could miss even more time. Who knows when he can return? The Knicks are in championship contention right now, and they cannot deal with having a starting center who may join them in January, who may not join them in January, who might be available in the postseason. His status is always a question mark. And when you are trying to win a championship, you don't need a player like that. That's the main reason that Leon Rose and this Knicks front office has been trying to move him for the longest time, all the way going back since the offseason when they lost Isaiah Hartenstein, because they knew having somebody who has an injury history like Mitchell Robinson when you're trying to win a championship is not conducive to winning. That's why the Knicks are looking to trade him for another impactful player. But his trade value is extremely low because everybody knows he's going to be out and everybody knows the Knicks are desperate to move him. When those things are paired together, it doesn't give the Knicks a lot of leverage in negotiation talks. And that's why if they're trying to go after a player like Trey Murphy, if they really wanted to put an offer together, they would have to include more players than just Deuce McBride and Mitchell Robinson. They would likely have to include some of their rookies as well, too. And the Knicks would not want to do that. They don't want to have to give up more than they have to get an impactful player on this team because they already know going forward for the next few years, they're not going to really have that much luck with drafting rookies. And the rookies they have on their team right now, they clearly believe in and they want to develop them. So I can't see them being included in any deal at this point. But that begs the question, if the Knicks are going to make a major trade happen, what are their realistic trade chips they have right now on the table that they can use to get that player? Well, according to Ian Begley, I think it's obvious as well too. It's Miles McBride and Mitchell Robinson. According to Begley, in a perfect world, the Knicks could bring Robinson along slowly with the goal of having him healthy for the postseason. But things are rarely perfect in the NBA. Injuries or subpar individual performance could lead the Knicks to seek an upgrade via trade. Robinson is on a team-friendly deal, making $14.3 million this season and $12.9 million in 2025-2026, the final year of his contract. If you look at the current Knicks roster, Robinson and Miles McBride are probably their best and most realistic trade chips at this point in time. There have been a number of reports already indicating that the Knicks highly value Miles McBride. I don't see them just moving him for any player. If they're going to move him, they're going to need a significant piece back. And I always said the only players I would ever move Deuce for would be Walker Kessler and Jalen Duran. And I might include Trey Murphy III in that list as well, too. The only reason I never did is because I never really thought it was a possibility, because I always thought the Pelicans valued him so highly that they would never let him go. Reports initially indicated that the Pelicans might entertain those type of trade talks. But as Ian Begley just clarified, there is no way, even if they did entertain trade talks for Trey Murphy, that Mitchell Robinson would be a target for them in order for that deal to get done anyways. Mitchell Robinson would not be the Pelicans' target to move Trey Murphy in a deal like that, because they would want somebody better, somebody more available, somebody who's not going to be missing till January 2025. You can't really blame the Pelicans or any team for that matter who doesn't want to give up a significant piece to trade for Mitchell Robinson, because you don't know when you're going to get him back. You don't know how healthy he's going to be when he comes back. And if he is healthy when he comes back, how long is that going to last before he's injured again? That's exactly what the Knicks are thinking about right now. That's why it doesn't matter to them whether he's healthy or not, whether he comes back in December or January, because this is always going to be the case with Mitchell Robinson. He is always going to have a question mark looming over his status. And because you're never going to know when he's going to be available and when he's going to be out, that's why he's a major problem to have on this team, especially when your goal is to get a championship. I know the Knicks are trying to move him. I know Leon Rose is doing everything in his power to do that. But you can only do so much with only Mitchell Robinson on the table. And if they don't want to include Deuce McBride, if they don't want to include any of these other pieces, then I don't think they're going to make another major move before the season starts, because Robinson's value is just too low. You can't get anything for him. And even though when healthy, he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the game, you can't sell that to another team. Hey, listen, when he's healthy, he's going to go off for you. Great. When is he going to be healthy? Listen, I don't know. But whenever it is, he's going to be great for you. Try selling that to any team. No team wants to have that headache or deal with that problem. They would rather the Knicks deal with it. And honestly, why help the Knicks? Aren't they a contender in the league right now? Why try to help them get better? I'm sure a lot of teams are thinking that right now and probably giving the Knicks a hard time trying to make any deal, because why would you try to help a contender? The only positive that we got out of the reports today from Ian Begley is that because of Mitchell Robinson's talent and team-friendly contract, there will be a market for him in order to trade him. The only question I have for that is, what is that market? Who are we going to get back from Mitchell Robinson realistically? Because I don't want to trade him for a player that doesn't mean anything, that's not going to help this team or not going to impact this team in a positive way. We need to make sure we get back a center if we're trading a center. I don't want back somebody who can't even play the 5 spot if I'm trading Mitchell Robinson. Now, the only way I can settle on maybe doing something different is if the Knicks are getting back a player that is so well above Mitchell Robinson, that he's so good that it would make no sense to turn down the deal. You'd have to accept it. Barring that type of offer being on the table, the Knicks should wait and get another player that they really value back for Robinson. Because even though he's injured and he's not going to be available for us until maybe January, he is still a player when healthy that helps this team. And he understands how to play under Tom Thibodeau. Those are things you can't take for granted. But if you can upgrade, and it's a clear upgrade, and it's for somebody that's going to be available more, that's going to be consistently there when you need him, not going to miss a lot of games, doesn't have a long injury history, then I think the Knicks are going to pull the trigger on that type of deal and land that player. The good thing about all of this is that we're being led by Leon Rose. So that means any move that's made for the franchise, it's going to benefit us. Even if we can't see it right away, we can trust in Leon. Look at what he's given us right now. We are in championship contention in large part due to him and everything he's built in the offseason. If he's done this for us, that means each and every move moving forward, I can't question, because that means it's a move to help us. Whether he moves Robinson before the season starts or during the season, I know Leon has a plan in place and he is going to execute it, because he's done this each and every single time. Whether we believed in him or we didn't believe in him, he still did it anyways, because his goal was always to get here. Championship contention. Now that we're here, he's not going to let any moment slip by to maximize this opportunity. Getting rid of Robinson and getting a better center on this team, that's how you maximize the opportunity. But what about you guys? What do you think about the following updates about the Knicks' trade interest in Trey Murphy III? And what about New York's best trade chips in Mitchell Robinson and Deuce McBride? Would you want to see both of them involved in a trade before the season starts to get another impactful center on this team? Let me know in the comments section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.